in terms of managing public debt, number one priority for me is debt accountability. If you listen to Kenyans at the moment and the discussions around debts, Kenyans seem to be asking, what is our actual level of debts? Is it really true that we have a debt level of 10.5 trillion? The answer could be yes, but Kenyans want proof and evidence. So debt accountability is number one priority for me. We must work on linking projects to loans. We cannot borrow loans for general budgetary support. I want to tell Kenyans, please don't panic. Let us stop making Kenyans panic. Mr. Speaker, you have been here with me. In the 10th Parliament, and even some, I think up to 11th Parliament, Finance Bill used to be passed in September. We used to have 3 months into the financial year to pass Finance Bill. The minister then was allowed by law through revenue collection order to allow for some taxes, interim taxes to be collected. But the bottom line is the law could be in place in September, on September 30th. So there is no cause of alarm. We have a legal framework which is still obtaining. Yes, the Finance Act of 2023 has been declared unconstitutional, although I don't know whether I'm correct. That has been appealed. If that is correct, that is good. But still, we don't have a lacuna. In fact, Finance Bill is an omnibus amendment bill. We have about 5 or 6 legislations that Finance Bill usually amends. We have excise duty, we have excise duty, we have import duty, we have value-added tax. Mr. Speaker, this constitution is too expensive. I know the counties had been given, but Mr. Speaker, truth be told, we should have had these counties as agents of devolution for development, but not government. We should have had bigger governments. Where you have now, you go to Vihiga, Mr. Speaker, it's a county with governor, deputy governor, you have CCs, 10 of them, you have county assembly, you go to Busia,
chief officers,
is the same, chief officer, all that. You
go to Sierra administrators,
yeah,
and ward administrators, village administrators,
you name it.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, there is even a clamor, very outrageous, for more counties. My Suba community want a county. I'm even asking, is it viable?
Mary wants a county.
Mary is calling for the Teso county. Let us face it. If we could have a system where we have regional governments, and then now devolve resources you can devolve as much as you want. Look, we have devolved CDF with a fund manager there with a very few skeletal stuff, and it is working. We could do the same with the devolving resources. That is what Kenyans wanted. But these big governments with big cars, with flags all over the place, I think we overstretched ourselves.
Mr. Chairman, if you look at the Kenya Kwanza manifesto, and I was reading the manifesto, it recognizes that the tourism sector is one of the key sectors, but Kenya currently is punching below its weight. So that's a description of what we have as the tourism sector. A lot has been done, but we are still punching below our weight as a country. If you look at the numbers, Mr. Chairman, with a population of 55 million and counting, and our tourist data of about 2 million to 2.3 million visitors, that confirms that Kenya is punching below the weight. Many countries that have succeeded in tourism actually are now getting more visitors than residents, or the ratio is a little better than we are seeing in Kenya. But the contradiction that I see is that Kenya is a destination that is much better than many other destinations that are attracting very many tourists.
The other issue about SMEs and access to finance and markets Part of the reform that I will propose upon approval is a situation where the big manufacturers work with the small, medium enterprises. We have a situation where manufacturers are the ones transporting their last mile product. We want to bring regulation, we want to bring policy and a law that allows the small, medium enterprises to be subcontracted, you know, to be able to deliver to the last mile. This is part of the reform that I will be proposing upon approval.
As practice, we know that world over, classification of hotels is a necessity. And besides that, it is a requirement of the East Africa community that hotels are classified. And back here in Kenya, if we do not do that, then our guests and the occupants will be left to classify it for themselves, which will then distort the pricing, which will distort the classes. And if I am approved, I will undertake to conclude the work that is pending on classification so that we have an objective classification system that has integrity and that will enable our hotels compete globally and even maybe be included in some of the chains because of the classification.